everybody. Welcome to Square It Up. We're here for another episode. I'm Bill Swinford.
I'm Monica Daniels.
It's great to have you with us. We've enjoyed getting this podcast off the ground, and we've had such great response.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. This is definitely new territory for me, but I have been told I'm settling into the role pretty well. And
you're doing good. We got you out from behind that Lancome counter at Dillard's to come and be a part of this, and you're just a natural. And we have great conversations. Speaking of your Lancome counter, we're still working on the makeup situation, aren't we?
We are. So we did a little bit more makeup the first time. I had some foundation and some powder, and Bill felt like it was a little too much.
Talking about me, yeah. We did a Monica Minute on this where we started off talking about, trying to cover up everything, and then we came back and said, well, it's a little cakey, a little much, and then last time maybe it wasn't quite enough.
And then last time we went with a translucent powder and a hack, some Claricel to take off the redness, and then some translucent powder. And we felt like that wasn't enough. So now this time we're going to...
I felt like it wasn't enough. I didn't know you felt that way.
I'm fine either way.
Okay.
I love you just the same.
Okay.
And but this time what we did was we went with a foundation compact powder. And what a foundation compact powder is, it's in a compact, it's a powder, and it has more coverage in it than just your classic translucent powder. So the thing about compact powders is they can be very cakey, or they can be too much. However, in this instance, we used a brush to loosen it up so it wouldn't be so thick, and we could go in with a lighter touch. And then I came over with a setting spray just to kind of soften it and take off the powder edge. So we have a little bit more coverage, but than a translucent, not as much as the first time.
I feel like everybody's just staring at my face going, oh my gosh, who let him on camera? But anyway,
no.
I'm so grateful that we have you on the team to help out with this. And speaking of which, you had mentioned in our first episode your sensational event that was last weekend at Dillard's. How'd that end up going?
It was a great success. Dillard's has been just doing really well. We all had our little bump during COVID, and then, but it just came back strong. We have every month we have really good turnout of customers coming to shop and to support us. Fred is over there in the men's department.
Fred Huff, yeah.
Yeah, Fred is over there in the men's department and just rocking and rolling and putting out all of those suits. And same sensational. It was a party. It's one of the few opportunities you have to save in the cosmetics department. Jill came over from St. Louis. Jill Nassif. She's a Lancome makeup artist who did makeup for the cheerleaders, for the Rams cheerleaders years ago when the Rams were in town, and now she works with Lancome. And it was great having her. It was great seeing all of my customers come in. I love those women. I
stopped by, and it seemed like you guys were having a great day, and it turns out you did. Your numbers were terrific, and congratulations. This is one of the things, a lot of people, I think, thought that Dillard's would struggle because they are attached there to that mall that shut down a couple of years ago. And as we wait for that mall to reopen in a new form with this Oasis development, and it's going to be exciting, yet you guys haven't missed a step, it doesn't feel like.
No, we haven't. We haven't missed a step. Dillard's is going strong. It's a phenomenal place to shop. They always have just great styles. You can find anything you need there.
Yeah. So good going.
Yeah, for sure.
So I stopped by Crown Brew this morning, as I usually do before the podcast, to get us our coffee.
Yeah.
I know your order, I order mine, and I saw one of our favorite people in the world, Larissa Rorick, who works at Crown Brew, gave us our coffee. And here's what Larissa does: she always gives us our coffee with our names, with a nice little. We get some hearts on there today.
Is it on there? Yeah.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
She is.
But we love everybody down there, don't we? Maddie actually took my order. Larissa made the coffee. Maddie Stroud, another really great one down there, and so we appreciate them. I bring up Larissa because her boyfriend, Will Absher, who's actually the son of our mayor, Mike Absher, just did something really cool. And you can read about it in this week's Marion Star. And there's actually also a video version of this on the Marion Star Facebook and our other social media channels, which also includes WFCN. And I want you to check this out because this is a very cool scholarship that Will and his family's business, Watermark, created this year. That's called the Watermark Award for Perseverance. And at the Marion High School Scholarship Night, just the other night, Will and Carrie Martin, our friend who's a former teacher and coach, retired teacher and coach, who does our Coaches at Crown Brew getting coffee. See how everything's just kind of working together, tying together. Anyway, Carrie was asked by Will and Mike to help choose some students to receive a very special kind of scholarship. And this was a complete surprise to these students because these students aren't necessarily the high academic achievers that normally get these scholarships. And what Will would tell you is that he just graduated from MHS last year. And what he would tell you is while he understands why the high academic achievers or the high athletic achievers get these scholarships, he thinks it's a shame that you got certain students who have gone through more of a struggle in high school because of their circumstance. Maybe it's at home. Maybe it's because they need to work to support the family or to put money away for college. They have to work a lot of hours. Maybe they have younger siblings they're helping take care of or another family situation that is kind of pulling them away. And it's making it hard for them to have any time for themselves, let alone any time to study. And so these students don't necessarily get the 4.0s like there's a lot of students at Marion High School that end up with that 4.0. They don't have a valedictorian every year. They have a top 10 because so many students end up with a perfect score. And it's terrific. And we applaud them all day long. At the same time, these students, 5 or 6 of them, I can't remember exactly which, are being chosen for persevering, getting good grades, getting through school, while at the same time dealing with a struggle. And so I got a chance to talk to Will a little bit for the story that's in the Marion Star. And what a great young man, just to even think that way and to want to help out some of his fellow students, some of the kids he went to high school with. And this is something they're going to keep doing.
That's great. So I love that story. The opportunity for those kids who, they were just going through a hard time and didn't think they would be eligible, but, they're getting support.
I don't know how they got them all there because it was, like I said, it was a surprise. And I'm sure none of them thought a couple of weeks ago that they were going to end up with a scholarship. But this money's being given to them, Mayor Mike told me, without strings attached. So whatever path these students are taking to succeed in life, they're going to have a head start from this award. So read about that in this week's Marion Star. The papers are now out. They are out on the stands, and you can pick one up. So congratulations to all of them. We wanted to mention a couple other things that are happening and have happened this week. Another one being another honor flight out of Veterans Airport.
Yes, and my sons, Miles Daniels and Seth Daniels, actually performed at the honor flight, and they've performed at several. And they're jazz musicians. Miles is getting his degree as a jazz musician, and Seth sits down and plays the keyboard. He's a genius.
And they've done this a few times now.
They have.
It's so great that they're there and the others and so many volunteers show up to make this a special thing. And if you don't know what the honor flight is something that is done for veterans to have a chance to have a free trip to Washington, D.C., to see all of the different monuments and memorials in Washington that pay tribute to them and their service and to really thank them for their service. And they have volunteers that go along and kind of help them through the day. Maybe a lot of them are in wheelchairs or need help getting around. And so you have these other volunteers that just take joy in going on this flight out of the airport. So they leave early in the morning, and this was on Tuesday of this week. They leave early in the morning, and they're back late at night. And when they get back, there's such a celebration, kind of like welcoming home the heroes from war. And some of those heroes that are honored didn't necessarily have that experience when they came home the first time, especially Vietnam era veterans. This is the first time that they've gotten these kinds of pats on the back and thanks. So it's a very emotional thing to watch.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity to honor the people that went in to fight for our freedom and to who did serve our country like that, and give them that hero welcome when they come back.
Yeah, and so shout out to our Aaron Price in our company who went out and live streamed all that, and he's done that for several years now. So you can get a chance to watch that. So congratulations to them, and again, thank you all of our veterans for your service. Something that's also happening this week on Wednesday, if you didn't realize, it was the 15th anniversary. Yes, 15 years since the Derecho hit the Marion area. Now, if you weren't here for it, you probably don't even know what that is. But the Derecho is a sort of a microburst tornado that hit our town. And there's been some bad storms in Marion over the years. The most famous one being the 1982 tornado that took a lot of lives. But this Derecho did a lot of damage 15 years ago. And you were living in Carbondale at the time?
I was.
So what was your experience with that?
I was outside with my small son. My son was small at the time, Seth, and our dog, a little dog. And I remember just feeling the atmosphere pressure just drop. And my dog went nuts, went running up to the house, wanting to get back inside. I followed to let my dog in. As soon as I got inside, I saw our trampoline going end by end all the way through the yard. I could hear trees cracking and breaking. Huge tree on the edge of the property. All of the roots came out, fell over. After a few minutes of hearing trees cracking and popping, and one fell on my house, I could hear the sirens, and everything was still, but I could hear the sirens, and I knew that a lot of people had some damage.
Yeah, our youngest was not even a year old. Sophia was not even a year old then, and our other three kids, we were all at home. And we lost quite a few trees. Lost a couple beautiful apple trees through that storm. But the aftermath is what I remember more. And that is we had to go out, and so everybody was going to try to find generators because we weren't going to have power. It was so clear there was such a load on the power company to get things going again. We knew it was going to be a while, and so we actually had to drive to Cape Girardeau to find a generator. My oldest son Riley and I drove down and found one. So by the next day we had power, and we had that thing running in our driveway. It feels like for a week.
Yeah. It took a while to get power on to a lot of houses.
So there are a lot of memories around that Derecho. Thankfully, there weren't a lot of injuries and things around it, but there was a lot of property damage. A lot of people lost things. And I mention that also because we've had some kind of tenuous weather this week as well. But with our history here in the Marion area, you get a little concerned. I know some businesses were closing on Wednesday early because
and some schools were closing. Yeah,
it seemed so ominous. So May 8th, 2009, that was the Derecho, and gosh, I can't believe that was 15 years ago already.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, our papers are out, and I wanted to give you a few other things to look for in the papers this week. Swinford Media Group publishes the Marion Star, the Herrin Independent, the Carterville Courier. Got some good editions this week, including our monthly sports connection, the Southern Illinois Sports Connection that we publish with Jim Muir is out, and you'll want to pick up a copy of the paper because in that sports connection, we highlight some local athletes like Amaya Doyle of Carterville High School. She plays basketball, softball, standout athlete. She's a senior, and she's going to go to University of Tennessee to play softball. She's on the cover. It's a great cover. So you'll want to see that. We talk about Carson Clark, Johnson City High School, also a senior, also a standout female athlete at Johnson City, and she's the valedictorian of her class.
Oh, nice.
So there's an article about her in there, and then we also, among other great stories, we talk about Tim Ritchie, who's class of 1971 at Frankfort Community High School, legendary basketball player, also played football. So great stories in there, and we're thankful to Jim, Davey Broy, and the others that put that together with my son Riley. In the Star this week, in our Marion paper, we talk about the scholarship night that I mentioned. Of course, the big news for us downtown was that Granny Puckett's is reopened.
Yes, I'm so happy.
We were hinting at that in our last podcast, but by the time it hit the internet, it had already happened. Granny had announced that Tammy, the owner,
Granny Tammy.
Granny Tammy
It's announced,
had
yeah.
announced that she was coming back. And so
Yeah.
we're so grateful for that, and we're excited. So you'll see an article about that in this week's Marion Star. We also will have a photo from an event you and I went to, which was the Saluki Takeover event.
Yeah, that was really fun. We got to see our friends. Brittany Bateman was there.
Yeah.
She's a big part of that.
Yeah, so this was at Walker's Bluff. So this is at Walker's Bluff, and this is the kind of the culmination of a month of these Saluki Takeover events that they've been having. They go to these different schools, and they're giving away scholarships to students, and the chancellor comes along for most of that. It's just a great approach that they have. Under this chancellor and under this leadership, they've done a much better job, in my opinion, of connecting to the local schools. So much better job. And these Saluki Takeover events are great. Brittany works for the Alumni Association over there, and she's a big part of shooting photos and publicizing these events when they happen. And she reached out to us and asked us to come, and we did.
We did. I met a lot of people. I had a great time. Loved being there, supporting the school I used to attend years ago.
Me too. Coach Nagy, the new basketball coach, spoke at Walker's Bluff, and it's also a great venue to have these kind of events at right there on the edge of Williamson County. So thanks, Brittany, for getting us there. We were so happy to be there. Same night, we went and saw the last show of Newsies, Marion High School Newsies at the Marion Cultural and Civic Center.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great show. A lot of fun.
Proud dad.
Sophia did an outstanding job, as always.
Yeah. So you'll see photos of that and in our papers this week as well. Some photos from the show. Our other papers, our Herrin paper, The Independent. You'll read about the sports banquet that they just had, where they honored their athletes, and they also had 2 inductions into the Tiger Sports Hall of Fame. I was a Herrin Tiger, by the way. I'm not in the Sports Hall of Fame. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm not in it.
Isn't your name on a plaque somewhere in junior high? Is it the junior high?
I hope it still is. I haven't been to the junior high in a while. I have a feeling it's not. But my claim to fame as an athlete was that I got on the plaque as the at that time, and we're talking about 1979-ish now. At that time, and you wouldn't know this by looking at me, but I was a sprinter, and I had the fastest 100-meter dash time up until 1979 in the school records. And so I was on a plaque, and they put this plaque on the wall in Mike Sorrell Gymnasium. Lo and behold, I went there no more than 5 years ago. That plaque is still on the wall with my name on it.
Well, we need to go see if it's still there.
We do.
We need to go check it out.
I'm just going to assume, because it's still there, that I'm still the record holder.
There you go.
I got to assume that. If it's not there, then I'm probably not. Maybe I just don't even want to know that.
Maybe not.
I think I'm tempted to steal it if I go by there.
Just take a
If you work at Herrin Junior High School and you know this plaque I'm talking about, and it's sitting in a box somewhere because it's no longer relevant, let me know. I'm going to come get it. I would love to have that. Anyway, off subject. Getting back on subject, the Tiger Hall of Fame inductees this year: Irv Lukens, former athlete and great basketball coach at Herrin High School, was inducted, as was Macy Mooneyham Spell. Macy was a standout golfer and graduated not that long ago. So congratulations to those two on their induction. In the Carterville Courier, we talk about Montgomery's Place, which is the new restaurant that I'd like us to go to in Carterville. And they are open for breakfast and lunch, but now reopening several nights a week for dinner. And I'm told they have a really nice dinner menu.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we need to make it.
So that's right downtown. That's in another building that Jennifer Spence has redone in downtown Carterville. Just a beautiful style, kind of a vintage feel. Bravo to Jennifer and the owners of Montgomery's Place for giving Carterville a nice downtown restaurant. And, shout out to Herrin High School girls track team. Won the Southern Illinois River to River Ohio Conference title again for the 3rd year in a row. So we've got all of that.
Speaking of visiting restaurants, we did make it to the Frenchman's Widow over in Herrin. We had a great time there. They reopened that. It is a beautiful historic building. We got to chat with one of the workers about some of the local ghosts that are resident there, and kind of hinted at maybe we'd like to do a little bit of a ghost tour and visit some of these places that have been around for a long time and are part of the history of the towns in this area.
Yeah. So that's another great restaurant that our county offers. Stop by there if you haven't. Frenchman's Widow was open for a while, then closed. Now has
It's
reopened.
yeah.
And it's a great experience.
Yeah.
But on the downside, Herrin is losing a really nice restaurant, we understand.
Yeah.
Stem's Cafe, that's been operating out of the Annex building, has decided to close in June, I believe. So folks have about a month to get there, and we ate there recently, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's a really nice space, and the food is really good. If you haven't been there, you only have a month to get in.
Hopefully somebody
And-
else will come along and use that space.
Yeah. It's a beautiful space that's coming available for.
Right. Okay, so a couple of other things to kind of recap and to call back to. This is one that I hesitate to bring up because it's kind of really sad and really just frustrating. And that is the fact that overwhelmingly people agree with you in how to pronounce the word caramel. But they claim it's
Carmel.
Carmel. So
Carmel. It's Carmel.
Tom's one of the many who think it's Carmel, even though it's spelled Caramel. 61% of the respondents to our little poll say Carmel. 29% are with me saying it correctly, caramel. And so thanks. I have two friends that stand with me who commented several times on this. My old friend Roger Leip, who is formerly with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes regionally and such a great guy, works with Saluki Sports as a chaplain, and I mean, obviously, very intelligent, very person in tune with God, who created, honestly, God created caramel, and so Roger's with me, standing in the how you say caramel, and he's frustrated by this, as am I. Steve Bailey, a former coach of mine, jumped on there, agreed with me also. I mean, I think this almost outweighs so many of the other votes. But Steve Bailey, teacher, coach, highly respected gentleman, photographer, I've learned. He's now taking photos, and he jumped in. But he also jumped in on the other debate, which Tom brought up, as to whether the words Ewans and Weans originated with Southern Illinois, because Tom was from Tennessee and
He had never heard it before.
Never heard it before coming here. So Steve weighed in on that. He wants us to talk about anyway versus anyways. That's another thing that we could get to sometime. I feel like we could do a whole podcast just on word misusage.
We could.
Right? Maybe
turn it into a drinking game.
Yeah.
Like every time we misuse a word, somebody takes a drink.
we misuse words ourselves, but
How about Cairo? Cairo.
Cairo versus
Cairo.
Cairo, Vienna and Vienna, and El Dorado and El Dorado, and all of these different.
Cairo, Illinois, right? Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cairo is
that's.
in
I mean,
Egypt,
that's the way it is, but nobody knows why it's Cairo, Illinois,
Right.
when it was named after Cairo, Egypt. But that's a whole nother show. Oh, and just a little insight that Roger Leip looked up on the Ewans Weans. I have no idea where he found this information, but Roger says that that use of those words originated in eastern Kentucky,
Oh, okay.
and now it's prevalent, prominent in southern Illinois. He said somehow he knows mostly in Johnson County, Anna area, and Jonesboro area, although Williamson County's got quite a bit of this going on too. So Tom, you were right on it. I mean, it feels like, and we do know that a lot of the settlers of southern Illinois came here from eastern Kentucky. So that really does make sense.
It does.
Kentucky, the Kentucky mountains, right? Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. There's your answer, Tom. I hope that helps.
It was informative and is very cultural for me to really realize that coming from Tennessee.
Yeah, right. So it just never made it down to Tennessee. It came up from Kentucky to Illinois, it appears.
It ain't there. No, it ain't.
So there's a couple of updates. We want to give a shout out to a friend of ours this morning, Danny Sennett, who is Tom's podcast partner on a wonderful podcast called Brave Conversations that you can find online. Danny is an Australian Christian therapist who is a radio personality and now a podcast personality. And she comes to the States to speak to conferences, and she's been doing that as well as visiting Tom, and they've been working on a project together. But Danny is a person who's got so much experience in doing what we do now, and she was very encouraging to us.
She was.
And we want to shout her out because she's been very, like I said, very encouraging, and she kind of got stuck in San Francisco this week, trying to get back home.
Yeah.
And we heard from her at the San Francisco airport.
We did.
So I hope by the time this drops, I hope you've made it home, Danny.
That's right. If you want to look her up, how do you spell DANNI?
DANI.
DANISY.
YNOT.
SYNOT.
Danny Sennett.
You want to find her and follow her.
Tom, what's the best way for folks to find Brave Conversations?
Actually, you can find us on the network called Access More, which is accessmore.com. We're there. We're also in various other platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify. Look for Brave Conversations. Danny also can be found. She has a big website and a ministry in Australia called Brave Enough. It's braveenough.org.
Okay. All right.
So,
yeah. And like I said, they're working on a project that we'll tell you more about soon. I think we're going to now you'll want to stay tuned to the podcast that will drop next Tuesday because we're talking to Cody Moak, the chief of staff of the city of Marion, about his first 5 years in that position. And Cody's great. So look forward to that. I'm going to leave you with a joke because we got to go. We're running out of time. Just going to leave you with a quick joke.
Sure.
Used to do this thing when I was a youth pastor. I used to do this thing called Top My Joke, and I would tell the joke to kids and see if they had a better joke. They always had a better joke. So we're playing Top My Joke. I'm going to tell you a joke, and then you see if you can get in the comments and come up with a better one for us to share with us. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Here's the question. What did the duck say after he finished dinner? I say, what did the duck say after he finished dinner?
What did the duck say? I have no idea.
Really? You have no idea?
What did the duck say?
Tom, you got a guess on this one?
No. I have no idea.
Those quackers were good.
Oh, that's not bad. No, the answer is put it on my bill. All right.
Dad joke.
Dad joke.
Dad joke.
Got a million of them. I've actually got a dad joke calendar.
Just post a better joke in the comments. This should not be too difficult.
Thanks. Thanks. Well, hey, listen, I'm sure you can.
It was a good joke,
If you share a
yeah.
joke, we might share it on our next podcast. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us through this one. We'll have more for you next week.
It'll be fun.
For the Swinford Media Group, I'm Bill Swinford.
I'm Monica Daniels.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.